We have covered a lot of basic information with the names and classes and so forth for all the pronouns. Let's look at the exercise for it. Exercise 9. The direction is for you to go through and pick the right pronoun and then to talk about which class it belongs to and which case it belongs to. A lot of the words, like the names of the classes, is not so important. It's good to know, but it's just going to take a lot of time talking about class names and stuff. So we'll just go through just the important stuff, okay? Let's look at the sentences. Go ahead and pause the video as necessary to try the questions on your own first. So we'll cover number 1 here. He was loyal to whoever or whomever trusted him. Important part here is for you to identify the clause, the dependent clause. The words like whoever and whomever begins a clause, so I'll put brackets around it. Okay, whoever trusted him. So he here is the subject for was loyal. Okay, was is your verb. Loyal is a predicate adjective. And then he was loyal to whom? The temptation is for us to say to whomever, but it's not always going to be to whomever. In this case, the to is a preposition, and where does this prepositional phrase end? It doesn't end with the whomever, it ends all the way over here. All right, so in grammar it is really mathematical how we organize things. So think of it as the brackets and parentheses that you use in math, and by that same logic we need to take care of the parentheses or the bracket that's inside first before we can get to the outside. So in analyzing this part, whoever, whomever, we're only going to look inside that clause between the red brackets there. So in this sentence, we're going to say that's the subject. Whoever trusted him. That's your object. Subject, verb, direct object. Okay? And so since you need a subject, we're going to choose whoever trusted him. It doesn't matter that you had a to there. Okay? This is controlled only within that clause. So when we look at the next sentence, we get basically the same thing. He was loyal to whoever or whomever he was trusted by. So we need to isolate that dependent clause there. And then say, all right, inside this clause, what's going on? In the clause, what you have is he was trusted, I guess, is passive voice there. He was trusted by somebody. Okay? And I'm putting my parentheses in awkward position because the by begins my prepositional phrase and the whoever or whomever ends my prepositional phrase. In this construction, because we need this word as a connective to the main sentence, we put it in the front and we left the preposition behind. And in this case, it's kind of inevitable. Oftentimes what we'll say is by whomever, and we'll have it in the front, and this is considered formal writing. But what happens when you have something like that? If you read the whole sentence together, he was loyal to by whomever, he was trusted. Okay, that sounds terrible, so we're not going to do that. And so we will leave the by in the back too. Whomever he was trusted by is what we choose because we have the subject here, we have the verb here, we have a prepositional phrase, and we need the object of the preposition, not the object of the sentence. But either way, we still need to choose whomever, okay, not whoever. All right, number 3, I bit me or I bit myself. This should have been easy. I bit myself. We call that the reflexive pronoun, right? Action back to the subject. Let's look at a few more sentences. Psychologists know we, us, or ourselves. Well, if you read only up to there, it sounds like psychologists know us. That would be okay. But in this case, we have a dependent clause. What they know is this information, that we sometimes despise, subject, verb. Who do we despise? We despise ourselves. Okay? Object there. Object, verb, there's subject. All right, and how do we know this is a clause? Well, because we have another sentence that's built in. And what's going on is there is a connective word here, subordinating conjunction, that, but the that is omitted. We just don't say it, but it's there. Number 2, there we were, all of us, Einstein, Fermi, and who? Okay. So study the sentence. The subject here is that we were there. That's your subject and verb. Who is this all of us? All of us, the word all is an appositive to the we. We equals all. So if the we is in the nominative case, then the all is in the nominative case. Of course, us is not in the nominative because all of us is a prepositional phrase, so we need an object there, objective case for that preposition. And then you have Einstein, Fermi, and me, or myself. What's going on here is that this whole thing is also an appositive for the all, which is an appositive for the we. We're trying to explain who the we is. We is all of us, and the we is Einstein, Fermi, and me. And grammatically, you had a nominative case. All was a nominative case. This is also equal to that, so this must also be in the nominative case. So the pronoun that you choose must be the nominative case pronoun. Okay. Number 3, the lover and his lass slugged each other. Well, subject is the lover and the lass. Okay. And so you have compound subject, 2 persons doing something to each other, of course. We reserve the one another to cases of 3 or more people, right? Let's look at a couple more. Pause the video and read it to yourself. It's kind of a confusing sentence here. Number 1 says, I heard it from the man who knew the janitor to who the president of the company had dropped a significant word. All right, very confusing. Were you able to figure it out? I heard it from the man. All right, so I heard something. The object, I'll just put kind of a square there. From the man, all right. And that's kind of a prepositional phrase, unimportant, but the man is the who or the whom. So here is my beginning of a clause there. And after reading the whole thing and trying to organize things, you can figure out that it stops here. Who knew the janitor, and then what did I hear from him is this information. To who or whom the president, let's ignore this, okay? Because that's a prepositional phrase. It's there, it just confuses us. So, who or whom the president had dropped a significant word to, basically, okay? And it goes like that. So I heard it from the man, and in the blue clause, what's going on? It's the he. Oh, and when you're trying to figure this out, try using other pronoun like he or him, or she or her. Okay, and see which one is better. The first one is the nominative case, second is the objective case. He goes with the who and the him goes with the whom, and it's much easier to figure it out. We're going to say he knew the janitor, not him knew the janitor, right? So we're going to choose who there. And then to he or to him, the president dropped the word. Okay, president gave some word information to him, we're going to say, not to he, right? And that's how you choose those pronouns. Number 2, he stood on a hill whose haughty brow, the haughty brow of which frowned at everything. So this one may be a little bit debatable because they both sound acceptable. Okay, what's going on? He is the subject here. There's a guy. He stood on a hill. So on a hill preposition, he stood. Okay, and it's this hill we're talking about. Whose haughty brow, or the haughty brow of which? We're talking about the brow of the hill, and so it sounds like, well, if you got eyebrows, you're a person. We're personifying the hill, is what it sounds like, and that would be clear. It would be clearer if they had it capitalized or something, but it certainly sounds like it's being capitalized, and so we might prefer that one. Whose haughty brow, okay, frowned at everything. Of course, frowning is action of a person, so we definitely have a personification going on. If you didn't think it was a person, then you might choose the which And this is proper construction. You would say the haughty brow of which as the construction. And even though the which is not right next to the hill, it will be understood. The eye of which, the man, or I guess you couldn't say the man, but the car, the wheel of which was blown, would be understood. Okay, that would be a correct construction. But in this case, we'll go with the whose haughty brow. And one other thing that justifies it is that whose can refer to non-persons as well. Okay, we don't like to say this of which, so whose is a possessive form for non-persons, of objects as well, so it is acceptable. Let's see, a couple more sentences here. This gizmo is a useful gadget whose use, or the use of which, nobody knows. So in this case, the use of which sounds better because it's a gadget we're talking about, and a gadget is a thing, it's an object, and so it's the use that nobody knows. And this is the right construction, of which, just as I explained in the previous sentence. So we'll go with this. But I also said that the whose can refer to objects as well, and so this is also perfectly acceptable. And so in your book, the answer key in your book says we'll use of which, but also whose is acceptable as well. And that's the reason. The reason, as I explained it, because whose can refer to objects as well, and it's okay. The only important thing for you to note is it might not sound right to you to say whose after a gadget. But if you saw it in a test question, you would have to say that it is not incorrect. Okay? You might not prefer it, but it's not wrong. Alright, let's you and I kill rats, or let's you and me kill rats. Well, this is another case where people will just pick the I just to sound sophisticated without thinking about the grammar of it. It might be the I, but we have to analyze it to see what's going on here. Okay? Let's sentence is a command sentence. So it really is, please, you let us do something. Okay? Let us kill rats. You see the us is in the objective case. And the you and I is actually an appositive for the us. Okay? We just don't have commas on it. I guess you could put commas. Let's, you and I. And if you said let us, I think we would put commas there, okay, to pause the reader when he's reading it. Let us, you and I, go forth, and so on and so forth. And so we have us, the objective case, and we need you in the objective case and me in the objective case, okay, because it's the appositive to the objective case there. Alright, those questions were kind of difficult. Please tell us how you did. Leave a comment and tell us how you did, and tell us if you had difficulty with any particular question, or if you disagree with any of the answers. I would certainly want to hear about it, and I think other students would want to hear about it too. The book that we're following is English Made Simple. Please visit us at hopegof.org. It's a good charity organization for helping children, so there are many ways you can get involved.